All right. I'm in here. Always got to follow the ancestors. The ancestors lead the way. They always need to know when I'm supposed to be on. Sometimes I wish I knew in advance, but I'm not that lucky. So, uh, but I'm fortunate enough to be here to join you to be on tonight. We're going to be doing some teaching from my book, which is The Key to Life is Numerology. I'm going to talk a little bit about my course that's coming up on February the 1st, 2023, and how you can register for that course starting in January on January the 2nd. There's two type of enrollments for that. January the 2nd through January the 18th is for the special early bird prices where you can save up to $103. And then there's the standard price, which is a little higher. And that kicks off on January the 19th, but it runs for a month. So you get at least 4 weeks in to pay it. But the course starts on February the 1st. So I'm Brother Francis Revels-Bey. I'm the founder of the Circle of Grace One in name of my mom, Grace, as the first grace in my life and the angel of grace thereafter. This is an opportunity for me to come on and share this information. I've been a spiritual counselor for 40 plus years. I've been a numerologist for 48 years. I've taught meditation for 48 years. I've taught dream analysis for the same length of time. So this is my opportunity to come on here and share. And I've been sharing. I think I have over 200 plus videos here dating back to maybe 2011 or earlier. So if you get a chance for this evening, invite anyone who wants to come on. I will also be doing numerology readings live. Okay. And my good buddy for 44 years, Professor Lloyd Strayhorn, is going to have me on his live with Lloyd coming up on Wednesday, December the 28th. 2022. And as I understand, I'm going to be the only one operating along with him that evening, giving out information about my course, my book, my other books, and of course, an opportunity to share my insight on numerology. Now, this is a golden time. Ooh, Brendy, hey, how you doing? Bernadette. So this is an opportunity to, get out here, share this information with people so they know what they understand. And this is, I like to keep, this is a live chat, and it'll be, if you replay the chat or replay this live show, you'll see the chat come up. So I'm here also to answer any questions pertaining to numerology, pertaining to dreams, pertaining to meditation, and also looking into some other aspects of our divinity and how we can bring that forward on a greater level. Excuse me. It's getting so warm in here and I'm getting so excited. I'm running my chi up rather high. So, one of the things I want to talk about is numerology is not a pseudoscience only because people involved in secret societies use numerology. And they've been using numerology for a very, very long time. They use it as a code to take you through various steps and levels of graduating the mind in terms of the person becoming more spiritually aware, more metaphysically aware, and even on the levels of occult sciences, more aware in that level. So it's not a pseudoscience because organizations around the world, secret side societies around the world, use numerology, from the Eastern Stars to Freemasons, free and adopted Masons, to Knights Templar groups. They all delve into Scottish Rite, York Rite of Freemasonry. What's his other one? Prince Hall Masons. They all use numerology. So it is not a pseudoscience. If it was, they wouldn't be using it. Even in the rabbis of the Jewish faith, right? They also use numerology when they study the Torah. So it's in there. People use it. The Bible's used as a metaphorical book and everything. So we know, we get that kind of clear, that it's not a pseudoscience. In my opinion, um, Pythagoras is not the father of numerology or mathematics. He might be the father for the Greeks, but people have to realize he spent time like many others philosophers around the world who could travel. He spent time in ancient Egypt, in the great city of Alexandria, and that's where everybody went to go learn the information that they wanted to learn, and they stayed there for some time. A lot of it is because the time it took them to travel there and to get around the various places and the temples in which to study amongst those masters. And today, people still travel, right? People, if you want to get information, you can go to Switzerland, you can go to Sweden, you can go to Denmark, you can go to Germany, you can go into Russia if you can get in there, you can go to Turkey, you can go to China, you can go to the Philippines. So, information is all over the world. And that is the great thing about it. People can still travel all over the world. And we're blessed to have something such as the World Wide Web, the internet, so we can go all over the world right from our living room or bedroom or your den. So we all are here to learn this information and also to share the information. And as I said, I've been doing it for a long time. I get a kick out of doing long charts on people, and I mean long. I do a full in-depth chart for a particular fee. I do a mini chart on a particular fee. I've done compatibility charts. I've done entire families, and those take quite a bit of time because you have to do an analysis on each member of the family. And I used to do it: the mother, the father, the daughter, and the son, if there were four people. So I would construct their information first on their date of birth and their entire name. And then I would find a common number, as it would be, a common number that would represent the personality of the entire family. So it can be done, it can be utilized in different ways. Now, some of the things numerology can be utilized for is like addresses. You can check places where you work, the actual physical address where you work. That would govern the entire building. Okay, you can do your house number. That rules the entire premises where you live. If you live in an apartment complex, not only do you have the house number of the entire complex, but now you have the individual apartment numbers, which then gives you more information. And so, what I have found, and I've checked it out here, when I look at people's four-digit apartment numbers and I casually ask them, what sign they born on, and they tell me, and they'll tell me their sign, and I compute it and I say, wow, they match. They match the number, either the day number numerically that they were born on or the astrological sign. So I find it quite interesting. Now, people might say, well, that can't be for everybody. Well, no, it can't be for everybody. It doesn't always happen for everybody, but in most cases, more than 51% of the time, it fits. And I would say pretty much to 80, 85%, almost 90%. Why? Because I've been doing it long enough. Do you know that addresses follow people throughout their life? Certain digits that are in their phone number follow them, and some people keep a cell phone number, right, for a long time. Why? They don't feel like making the changes because they got to call all these companies up, and they got to go to their banks and do all of that, so they keep the same number. But those numbers are vibrating around you. They're vibrating in your auric field. They're giving off a signal. These tags that come on clothes, barcode tags, those are giving off a frequency. How is it that a person, they'll set things up in a store, they take that little red light scanner, beep, and they can get the price. They can see what the price is, or it says how many things are still in stock. Food has a number. So you can tell between food that is more healthy than food that's chemicals. Chemicals have a certain digit of numbers, and food has a certain, natural foods have a certain digits of numbers. Numerology is utilized all the time. We're always checking the time. Like I said, I was going to come on at 9:16 p.m. Yes, I said I was going to come on at 9:16 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and people on the East Coast 11:16 p.m. I did that for a reason. So there might be a lot of people on here that may vibrate. to this number. In fact, it says I came on at 9:16. That adds to 25, which is a 7. So the first people it may have brought into alignment are people born in the seventh sign. If someone's born in the seventh astrological sign, that's Libra. Okay. If somebody was born where the number 7 is ruling in numerology, that's Neptune, which is Pisces. I'm a Pisces person. I happen to be born on the 16th of March. So I get it twice, right? And check this out, my life path number or destiny number, which when you add all the numbers up vertically for the month, day, and the birth month, birthday, and birth year, you get a 4-digit year, and you add that across. Well, mine adds up to a 27, which is a 9. So I put it in the ninth hour on the 16th minute. I did that for a reason. I'm doing experimentations all the time. So we get to see how these numbers and things begin to play out in our lives. And you get to see like over and over and over. It's just not one time, but as a numerologist or like an astrologer, you really have to look at things, not just once, but many times. This is how you learn. You become your own number scientist. You become your own numerologist. You can teach yourself numerology in your own way. So when I teach this course that's coming up on February the 1st, 2023, it's going to be done every Wednesday. Now, I said in the little banner for my YouTube channel, I said a 12 plus week program. But when I looked at it, it is actually 11 paid weeks and 7 review weeks, which are free. That's a total of 18 weeks. That's pretty much what a college student gets, right? When you go to college, you go by semester, right? So when you go by semester, if I'm not mistaken, a semester is about 4 months of time of study. You need the first 30 days just to get comfortable with the information, get comfortable with the professor, get comfortable with the scheduling of time, and so on and so forth. So you find these things happening in different ways, and they begin to add up. And that's what numerology is about, the accumulation of numerical vibrations. Okay, the accumulation of numerical vibrations gets embedded or seeded into our lives. But here, like Lauren shares, that's so true. I lived at 2222. Get that, 2222. Apartment address. Apartment number was 222. That's what? 6 2s. That's a 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. And she says her birthday is February the 22nd, 2000. And she's 22 now. This is the year 222. So she's got a lot of twos there, right? The address, the apartment address, and the apartment add all those digits add to 3. Then she has 4 twos, that's an 8. So, give you a quick analysis, you have a life path or destiny number of an 8, which means you come to learn about 8. You learn about ancient wisdom, traditional sciences, traditional astrological information, you name it. And you're also learning to overcome limitations of and restrictions of all kinds. So you're able to do that. And now, as a numerologist, I would say, looking at your numbers, you're born on the 22nd of February. In numerology, we have the short cusping point from the 20th to the 27th of every sign. So since you're born on the earlier part, you pick up more of a little bit of like your Piscean with a little bit of the Aquarian nature set in there because the 22 represents Uranus, and then Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Plus, the 22 knocked down to a 4 is an old soul number. So you're like a visionary. You see a bigger picture. So this is how numbers work. We're able to see a bigger picture, a bigger plateau, a bigger platform. You're able to see ahead. You're able to look over the fence, so to speak. This is very important to utilize and to know for yourself. And check this out. I got 2 people liking it. Actually, two people in here. So look at all the tools running across the board. This is very powerful, very significant time. And we're leaving Scorpio, right? Scorpio did his job, and we're trekking into Aquarius. So since we're trekking into Aquarius, we're bringing not Aquarius, excuse me, into Sag. Sag is the Centaurian, right? With the arrow. That's like a play on Hiawatha. Hiawatha shot the arrow, didn't know it was going. That's what the rhyme says. The lore says. However, the centaur, scent or sense, sent like 100. The centaur is someone carrying wisdom. The centaur is the higher self, opposite Gemini, which is the higher self on earth. But the Sagittarian is the higher self in the heavens. That's the way I kind of see it. So while we're under this sun sign of Sagittarius, we're going up a ladder, so to speak. We're climbing the Jacob's ladder and we're going into the heavens. We're raising our consciousness. And we can raise that consciousness using various tools. Numerology is one of them, astrology is another, palmistry is another. Person that works with the hands on your body, a chiropractor person, a licensed massage therapist, a Reiki person. Everybody is doing something to elevate your energy. So if you're seeking to elevate your energy, at the same time, you raise your mind. What mind is all the faculties that you have, the thinking faculty. It also tied to the mind is hearing and your eyes, sight, and your hearing through your ears, right? And our olfactory nerves to smell things, our tongue to taste things, our fingers and feet are tactile. We can touch things. We can read surfaces. We can read energy. And that's just a few things. The mind has the ability, has the capacity through the mind to have understanding and compassion and grace and truth and honesty and integrity. All these things are there, but we're consciously expanding, and sometimes we are unconsciously expanding. And as much as we are unconsciously expanding, we could be unconsciously limiting ourselves. So that's why we always have to seek wisdom. We always have to seek knowledge. We got to read books. But the real higher side of reading a book is to trigger you. So this is my sixth book. When I got into channeling, when I didn't even know I was going to channel the books, that the first book I channeled was The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am, and the second one I channeled, well, The Wisdom of Akhenaten took 3 months, but his companion, Nefertiti. So the gift, which is called The Wisdom of Nefertiti as I Am, I did that in 2 weeks. Just tune in a deep level meditation and began typing away. I didn't have time to write any notes for those 2 books. Why? Because it was a remembrance, my Pacific remembrance. But when I also wrote the book as a channeled book, I was told that people at the right time that were drawn to those books would be triggered, and then their memory would kick in. So when their memory kicked in, it allowed them to receive information, not so much from out here, but from inside. We're these walking, living libraries. Our DNA, the cellular memory, contains reams of information. I was just listening not too long ago. I think it was, and I'm not sure, but I think it was this guy, Billy Carson, who said it. And Billy Carson, he's like a bad mamma jamma. He has done some things with the emerald tablets, Dolph's emerald tablets, where he has written that material and he has studied that material. Sometimes you find him on ancient alien programs. Okay. So he delved into some things. In fact, he's a remote viewer. He actually studied with one of the military elites that retired and was teaching people how to remote view situations, for the military and so forth. But he learned it to develop his mind. All these things are keys. So when these books that I write, they're designed to trigger you. Somewhere down the line, if you study the work, the material in the book enough times, you will begin to remember where you are in the greater construct of the universe, the greater picture. So if you always had some question in your mind about who you are and what you're supposed to be doing, one of these six books are going to trigger you, and you'll start to go into a deeper awareness with yourself where you start to meditate deeply, you start to analyze things deeply, you start to think on a deeper level, you start to wade through reams of information. Which brings me back to what I was going to say about Billy Carson. I believe he's the one that said this, but I'm not sure. So you might have to double check it. But someone said, if it wasn't him, that they took a drop of someone's blood and they were able to place 7 billion bits of information onto everything in that one drop of blood. So if that's true, what these scientists have done, that means we contain more than that. That means we contain the universe. We are carrying within ourselves the universe. This is why we have an interest in the things in the sky, the stars, the constellations, the asteroids. When we study astrology, that's astronomy on the earth plane. When you study astrology, it is astronomy on the earth plane. You could use astrology to raise your consciousness up and go deeper into what we call the heavens, the canopy over us. But you can get so deep where you break through the canopy and you get into other worlds beyond this world. When we meditate, we can travel into the ethers. We can go very deep, so deep we can attain information from different levels. When we attain this information on different levels, we start to remember who we are. That's the beauty of who we are. We begin to remember. This is essential to our well being. In my studies in 1999, my mother was my first spiritual teacher. She taught me the best she could. She was learning from the Rosicrucian membership that she had, and it wasn't in a magazine. She was actually attending a Rosicrucian lodge on Long Island in Westbury, New York, as well as being an avid student of the Bible. She studied the Bible, was her favorite book to read. And guess what? She could interpret that Bible. She could take Psalms and apply it to your life. She could take the Proverbs and apply that to your life. And she could do a reading on you that way. Sometimes she would start to channel up and sing a gospel tune. And all of a sudden, she started giving you information. That's the way she rolled. She was also a member of what was called Astara. Now, the Rosicrucian order, which is the ancient mystical order of the Rose Cross, and then the Astara, both of those groups were from California. And out in San Jose, that was the main headquarters for the Rosicrucians. And Astara wasn't too far behind. So she was studying from these two disciplines. And then she was applying what she understood through her studies of the Bible, plus she had other friends, other circles of friends who were Rosicrucian or in the Star groups, or they were in the Eastern Star Masonic groups. They all would converge and they would study. So she was able to pass some things off to me. She didn't know how to teach it to me directly, but she taught what she could. And somehow I listened, even though I didn't know when I was a teenager what she was really talking about. But I believe that since she was good at prayer, She was praying for me to open and understand in my due time, to begin to understand. So when people used to tell me things, I didn't know what they were talking about. I had some idea, but I really didn't know. And I would think, well, I wonder where does this go? And because I was limited in my experience of spiritual and metaphysical things, because I wasn't reading anything on that level, I was too busy trying to be an artist, trying to paint portraits and landscapes and draw and sketch people. So I didn't know. I was too busy playing R&B music on my guitar, being self-taught. I didn't know. But when I was 8 years old, I received a vision, but I thought it was a dream. Now I'm 8 years old. I don't know the difference between a dream, a vision, and a roach. Okay. I don't know what any of that stuff meant. But I went and told my mother. I used to stutter when I got angry or sick or excited because I had asthma. And I ran in. I said, Mom, I had a dream. And this dream is like strong. I used to tell her all my dreams. I used to tell her when I was being chased by a guy in dark armor on a dark horse chasing me through a forest. Tons of people. And she told me that was my asthma trying to take over. She said, Boy, you keep praying, you're going to pray your way out. And then I saw the guys in light outfits on lighter colored horses. And I got on the back of one and we ran out of the forest and the other people couldn't get through. Well, this dream that I had, which she explained was a vision, was this. She said, what I dreamt about seeing myself playing volleyball on a college campus will come true one day. It may take some time, but it will come true. And it did. The college that I went to, seeing the high school guidance counselor at his home after graduating in 1970, and in August 1970 or July 1970, parents, you know, were all converged at this guy's house, and he invites this person comes down from what is called Bard College, upstate New York. Didn't know anything about it, but I tell you, I got the chills when she told me to go outside, and the man's name was Thurman. Go outside in his backyard and put my hands around the chairs. She taught me sensitivity, trying to feel things. And I found out energetically where she was supposed to sit. So I took her little jacket, plumped it there. Found out that I was sitting right next to her. Found out that there's someone else that was going to sit in that seat, and it wasn't anybody else that was invited. And it turned out to be this woman who sat in that chair. She had the picture of the school that I saw in the dream, where I played volleyball on the campus. I'll tell you about that some other time. And maybe if you go back to some of my videos, you'll see where I talked about it in fullness. Well, I'm talking a little bit about a lot of things. My mind goes all over the place. Often talking about many things. I talk about numerology tonight some more. Talk about dreams. I'm going to talk about lucid dreaming. I'm going to talk about meditation. I'm going to talk about out of body experiences. Because all these things play a part in our lives. I would like to say if anybody else is out there in YouTube land, in cyberspace, here for the Circle of Grace One, myself, come on in. We're on this YouTube channel. I started at 9:16 p.m. and I plan to be on for at least 90 minutes. So where does that leave us? Roughly almost 11 o'clock, maybe more, because I can get long-winded. And I'm feeling a lot of energy. So one of the things I want to say, and this is for everybody that's tuned in right now, from Bernadette to Lauren, and to everybody else that may be tuning in at a different level. I just don't know you're really in here. We're going to have some, as you know, some ups and some downs, but we're going to have a push. We're going to be pushed into awakening on a deeper and higher level all at the same time. We're going to go deeper into ourselves. We're going to clear the shadow side. We're going to clean up that shadow side of ourselves. That's where we are harboring anger. And some of that anger doesn't even belong in the now time. Some of that anger belongs in the past. Some of that anger might be placed on our shoulders by family members, by friends, by coworkers, by neighbors, by other people. We don't often know where some of this anger is coming from. This anger might run so deep in us that it may go back several generations. We don't know that we're carrying all that anger. So we're going to have to learn how to have breakthroughs and how to break through cleanly and break the chains that are upon us like a yoke. Break the chains that are on our wrists that keep us from grabbing onto something new. Break the chains at our ankles that keep us from moving forward and stepping forward clearly onto our path. So we're going to have to work at that. Now, some of that is meditation. People say, well, can you use affirmations? Yes, you can. You can design an affirmation that will help you put an intention, plant a seed so that you could free yourself from all the stuff that you're going through. Affirmations, like the late Reverend Ike used to say, nothing works until you work it. Means to you exercise it numerous times. If we don't exercise things over and over and over, then we don't really know where to go. We don't really know how to attain and how to have victory in our lives. So we're going to have to really push a little harder. But one of the things I spoke about, since this is called Circle of Grace 1, one is unity and unification with yourself, a sense of oneness where your lower self, the shadow self, gets embraced by the higher self. These are aspects of yourself. As they embrace each other and come back together as one, it is sort of like your left brain fusing with your right brain, bringing them together. They become a powerhouse within you. And then you no longer see yourself separated from this universe or all other universes. We have an opportunity to break free. So the more we work on ourselves, the greater we shall become. The more we work on humility, the greater we shall become. And sometimes other people want you to uh, change, and you can't do any changing for them. You have to change for yourself. So if someone says you need to change, in reality, they need to change. They cannot hold you in a box anymore. You don't fit into the square hole or the round hole. You fit where there is freedom for yourself, freedom to be who you are, freedom to express who you are. Now, some people will say, well, you belong to that particular group, so you can only express what that particular group is expressing. You can't touch what's over here. Some of these things, all of these things, are made by people. So you can touch them. You can look into them. It's like music. We know music is a universal expression. Art is a universal expression. Dance is a universal expression. Everybody loves to dance. Everybody loves to paint or draw something or sculpt something. Everybody loves to sing. These expressions, these talents, these gifts that we later develop into a skill, When we develop them into a skill, what it opens up new doors for us. As they say, new worlds. We see things differently. Why? Because we have a tool that has been used to transform the way that we think and the way that we see things, the way that we interpret things. This is why you go into homes, people have thousands of books or thousands of jazz albums or R&B albums or rock and roll, you name it. Why? Because music frees your mind. Sometimes people have asked me, well, what about, have you ever taken ayahuasca? I go, no. Have you ever smoked weed? Yes. When I was in college, I did. Well, have you ever taken such and such and such and such? I said, I smoked the average weed, marijuana, and hashish. Didn't know why I was doing that, but I knew at some point I didn't want to continue doing it. So I broke myself of the habit. Why? Because I remember studying Tai Chi in the beginning and martial arts. And I got a certain high when I walked into the doors of Tai Chi Chuan. That was in September of 1973 when I started my senior year in college as an art major. I was doing so much Tai Chi that I was literally practicing every day, at least 3 hours a day. I'd get up before sunrise, I would do it before sunset, and I would do it at some point during the day. 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, somehow triggering the inner me. Once I got out of college and started attending other locations, I started finding people who would talk about Tai Chi. Sometimes I was a little nervous because I would go to certain places in Manhattan because I lived on Long Island. I wasn't in Chinatown, but I was walking around in certain places. I remember going into a candy shop, and it was owned by this elder guy and his wife, and they were Chinese. And they had a son and a daughter. And the son and daughter were around my age. So about, 23, 24 years of age. And they saw me looking at the Tai Chi books, but they were written in Cantonese or Mandarin. I didn't know what it was, but I was looking at it because I was introduced to it in college. So there I am looking at it. And I remember having an instructor, a couple of them thereafter, and they started telling the guy, says, "Oh my, you need to go see my grandfather." I said, "Your grandfather? Is he here?" So no, 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 no. My grandfather, he's the man who has the floral shop around the corner. I said, I go in there all the time, get flowers for my friends, yoga studio and things. So that man has never said a word to me. And they proceeded to tell me how he studies people. And they proceeded to tell me that he has studied me. And he said I'd make a good Tai Chi practitioner or student. And I was like, how does he know all of that? Well, when you know your craft, you can tell by the way people walk, talk, carry themselves. If they're humble, if they brag, you can tell. You can tell just about what kind of discipline or closely connected discipline that they have in their own life. You can tell. So it's just like a person who reads tarot cards, different kinds of tarot cards. You study those cards enough. You study the oracle cards enough, and soon you will know. Soon you will not only know, but you will see for yourself. You will understand for yourself that those cards are like doorways. When I used to teach tarot cards to my students in New Jersey and on Long Island, I used to tell them, see the images as a doorway into an open field or building. So I would tell them, like the Four of Swords, where the soldier was laying down on a bench, and underneath, engraved on the side of the bench underneath him, was a sword, a large sword. And above him were three swords suspended in the air, pointing down. And he was laying down with his hands in a prayer position, and his visor was up, not closed. So with his visor up, meaning he would be able to see. His vision would never be obstructed. Even with his eyes closed, he will see, he will understand through his brow center. He's praying for that opportunity from his heart to get there because his hands were over his heart. And I saw the three swords like decisions, but I saw the fourth one, meaning this is a state of meditation. And he wasn't outdoors, he was in a sanctuary. Because in the sanctuary, it was a place of peace for the warriors, the military. They couldn't fight in the church. They could fight outside the church, but not on the church grounds, and neither could they fight in the church. That was a place of peace and tranquility to find themselves. So in the sanctuary, they had stained glass. That's how you knew that it was inside, like a place of worship. But I would tell my students, I want you to see this as a theater. Begin to study the picture as a theater. And because that particular picture, especially in the Weight Rider deck, was gray, I would say think of that as nighttime. You're going to go into this building and it's nighttime. And while you're in this building, you're going to see what you need to see. I get too much light in my eyes. You would be able to, excuse me, you would be able to see because it was like nighttime. So you were going inside. And as you went inside, everything would be somewhat in shadow. Now, with everything in the shadow, you would go in and eventually you'd see the soldier on the bench. You would see the sword on the side, as if to say he laid his sword down. He took a moment to reflect on where he had been, where he is, and the potential of where he might be going, because there's three swords above him. This was a place of meditation. And so I began to teach it that way to my students, that the Tarot was a great way. The Tarot is the wheel of life. It's a great way to meditate on one's life by looking at the various pictures. And those pictures have a meaning that connect to the earth, which is the pentacles and your physical body. And then I said we had to check things such as the cups, which is the heart, how we feel, where love was in our life, or creativity and psychic energy. Then we had the swords, and the swords were our thoughts and decisions that we make, and things that we're entrusted with, right? Things that we are going to protect, things that will help secure peace. And then there's the wands, and the wands is spirit coming into us, or an intuitive nature, or faith that we would have in ourselves. There were all these things in there. And I would have the student explore, see themselves inside the picture. Well, I'm going to bring this back where numerology is. When you study numerology, the same thing I would teach my students when they were back in the day studying the Tarot, I would say the two means partnership, a bonding together, an agreement, a contract. Throughout your week, I want you to, every time you see two people sit down and have a discussion, it was a partnership. There was an agreement or a disagreement. There was a contract being formed. And it was an opportunity for people to see what the other was thinking. But at the same time, it's not just two people. Again, it's the merger with one's lower self and higher self, with one unknown self, limited self, with the unlimited self, the unconscious self with the conscious self, or the conscious self with the superconscious self. All of these different plateaus and layers was embedded in that number two. There was peace, there was harmony, there was happiness, there was unconditional love, there was love itself, enjoyment, a seeking, like being in search for something, two people in search of life or the meaning of their life. So there were many things that people could do with the Torah. And I was looking forward to share that information with the Torah so people could reach out and see and understand. You see, when you study cards, the numbers are there, astrological significance is there, the spiritual meaning of flowers and plants and trees and gems are there. Everything is placed in those cards for a reason. Sometimes you don't see it right away. Sometimes you may see it thousands of times later. But then, bing, once you see it, it stands out in your mind. And now you've had a breakthrough. There are so many ways in which to take these disciplines and work them on a higher level so that we begin to have breakthroughs. Breakthroughs are important. If we don't have a breakthrough, we don't know how successful we are. If we don't have a breakthrough, we don't know if we're making any motions. Are we getting ahead? Are we getting deeper? Do we have a different level of understanding? So these disciplines that we have, because that's what they are, they're disciplines, disciplining the mind and the heart to not overreact, but to go deep and reach that point in ourselves where the remembrance begins to open itself up. Long as we can remember, we shall begin to have greater value, greater sense of who we are. We need all of the disciplines. I feel at one point, all these disciplines fell under one roof and they were all extensions of each other. They weren't really separate. The Tarot is a book. You can read that book and you can compare the leaflets, the 78 pages of the book, with everything that's going on in your life, as well as another person's life. You can begin to see their path unfold in front of them. You can see your path unfold in front of you. Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, there's a lot, that we can gain from the various tools that we work with. I know some people that's all they do is palmistry. But man, they see your history, the history of every thought that you've had in the palms of your hands and the fingers, shapes of your fingers, how your nails are. They see it all. They could talk about your family, if you had children, if you're going to have children, how many you would have. They're able to pull all that information because your hand is like a roadmap. They say your dominant hand is the hand that you are now performing everything that's in your left hand. Your left hand was the theoretical stage, the potential of what you might do. But your right hand, your dominant hand, shows what you are doing. Amazing. The book of wisdom. We're walking books of wisdom. And like a scientist or like the universe, we are constantly, unconsciously, and consciously evolving. We are consciously evolving. We're consciously going through stuff all the time. We're consciously changing or unconsciously changing. Every thought we have is creating the future called now. Every time we are making decisions, we're developing our own path. You remember the movie The Matrix? I believe it was in The Matrix. No, it was in X-Men, where the guy was called Magneto. Hey, good evening there, Rose Jefferson. You remember the guy who called himself Magneto in the X-Men? He was walking through a cave, an opening from one opening in the cave to the other side. There was nothing there. But since he was the master of magnetism, he could intend metal plates or steps. He could, which is like saying, he could order his steps. He ordered his steps and walked from one opening of a cave to the other end. And the only way to get there, he was making these steps materialize in front of him. And he was just walking. Almost like that biblical phrase, you can order your steps. He was ordering his steps, taking himself from one side of the abyss to the other side. Symbolically saying we do the same. Every thought that we have crystallizes our path, our steps to where we're going. But we have to begin to see that. We have to begin to understand it. We need to look and see and realize what's going on. The beauty in all of this metaphysical and spiritual studies is to recognize and remember who we are. And I'm not just talking about those of us listening to me and whoever else I might choose to listen to, everybody. But what happens in this world is that everybody moves along at their own pace. Many of us start out as a skeptic. I don't believe this. But it's good that you do start out as a skeptic. Why? Because you get a chance to prove it wrong and wound up proving it right. I know because I walked a little bit of that path myself. Even though my mother was teaching me things and I started to draw on all of these things that she was teaching me in very subtle ways, I was still checking stuff. I was still saying, I don't believe this guru, which is 3,000 miles away in India, and I'm over here with 6 or 7 other students, chelas, disciples, in my Tai Chi practitioner's home in Hell's Kitchen, New York City. I don't think this guy can look at our picture and ignite our Kundalini and make it begin to travel up our spine and around our spine. I don't think he could do that. He did. 10 of us in a room on mattresses at the crack of dawn, studying, chanting. And our chant was Om Namah, Om Namah Shivaya. That was, we salute the divine that's in ourselves. And I was challenging my Tai Chi instructor. I don't think this is going to happen. Even though I got all the flowers, everything I was supposed to bring, and the fruits for offering. Didn't know we was going to eat these things later after it was all over. Showing up in a white T-shirt to wear that morning, and being able to take a shower in the guy's house, an apartment, for three men and three women. Eventually, six of us out of 1,000 people in New York City got this opportunity. The date was somewhere between April the 2nd and April the 7th of 1977. I experienced what was called the Shaktipa, as in Shakti, Shaktipat. The T was silent. Shaktipa. That's where a guru who knows what he's doing can tune into several people at the same time, using your photograph, tracing your light through the ethers, and striking your tailbone like a match. And you begin to feel it. I felt it. I felt it so much. I was sweating through my t-shirt and through my white pants and through my underwear and through my socks. Full-blown sweat. Six of us entered this little hole in the wall. 6 by 6 foot hole in the wall. Maybe a little bigger. We could go into this other room in this ground basement level apartment in Hell's Kitchen, New York City, New York, into my then living Tai Chi instructor's residence. All I remember was getting hot, sweating, and saying the chant, and my teacher leaning into my left ear telling me to relax. And the one thing I remember him saying, the very last thing he said to me, was this. He says, "You cannot fight the guru." The guru, Guru, meaning our teacher abroad. He had the heart of a lion, the mind of a child, and the sweetness of a child. But he knew each and every one of us, and he was going to ignite us whether we were aware, ready, or not, because we were chosen. Well, everybody else went through. Everybody else chirped away songs, sound like birds, fell around the mattress as if they were drunk, never falling into each other's way or on each other. I don't even remember when everybody left, but I remember I tried to stand up and I felt something push me over. I went from crying like a baby to laughing ecstatically like a clown. I remember rolling around on the mattresses, meowing like a cat, barking like a dog, remembering nursery rhymes. Almost at one point, I remembered being born out of my mother. And my mother is so much in tune, I went back and told her things, and she told me for a split second, she felt like she was giving me birth. That's powerful. She felt like she was giving me birth. That must have been a very powerful time for her. She was born in 1918. That happened to me in 1977. So that made my mother about, what, 59? She's about 59 years of age almost, experiencing that. Sitting in the kitchen of one of her older sister's houses where we lived. She said for a split second, she felt like she was giving birth. That was me going through that. It's like she revisited having me all over again. That's how I knew, okay, this is more than my mother. This is a woman who I have past life connections to, and we're just living them out. We're carrying them out in this lifetime. And she's going to impart something to me before she gets off the planet. Something of dire, significant, but healing at the same time. Until this day, she has transitioned since 1981, May 13th, 1981. She's still in touch with me, and her mother's in touch with me. Yeah, we can talk to our ancestors. We don't need a middleman for nothing. We just have to relax the mind, relax the body, take care of the body, open up the mind, open up the heart, and listen. This is how powerful we are. We're very powerful beings. We just have to overcome our fear, and we all have fear. I mean, there'll be a lot of people say, I'm not afraid of nothing, but there's something that they are afraid of. Because usually, if they say, I'm not afraid of anything, there is something that they are afraid of. Because the one who knows they're not afraid, they won't tell you that. They won't say, I'm not afraid. They will say, I have certain fears on whatever level that might be. What is so fantastic about being who we are is that in each moment of our lives, we have an opportunity to expand. We have an opportunity to turn our path in different directions, go in different directions, wherever we want to go. That's why some of us are excited. Here's this person again. Uh, okay, whoever this person is, they've been reported, they will be reported again. So I'm going to leave them in here so I can report them fully. Well, anyway, the interesting factor is this. And all this means when a person leaves these kind of things, they're actually seeking wisdom. So if I was to track this person down, they're searching for this wisdom. That's why they're here doing this. So we are specialized, infinite beings, not locked into the world of negativity at all. That is the unique thing, not locked in to being lost. Like, as an example, this individual is lost, seeking knowledge. They might be seeking to disrupt the knowledge, but this energy embedded in these words has brought them here. And I can guarantee about the umpteenth time they come here, they will eventually stop. So while I'm here, might as well take a picture of what they left so that when I report it later, all things will be well. Just let me take a moment. In the meantime, if any of you have any questions, give me your questions now. If you have any comments, give me those now. What is so unique about the world that we're in this time is that everyone, the lost and the found, are seeking liberation. People are having a war with themselves. Can you imagine having a war with yourself? Not sure where you're supposed to be. Maybe someone like this. Let me lash out at others. I can get some attention. And then when they get the attention that they are not looking for, then they don't want it. So this is the beauty of things that we see in our lives, the ups and the downs. Even those who don't want what you have are looking for what you have. Those who are looking to disrupt your life are looking for what you have. I just want to give a welcome and greetings to everyone. Now, I want to talk a little bit about, and I'll get to my book in a second. I want to talk a little bit about the necessity for daily meditation. The necessity for daily meditation is allowing us to learn how to work with our analytical mind and our intuitive mind, which is our left brain analytical, right brain intuitive, and how eventually they come together so that we have synchronicity, so that we have a harmony. If we are meditating, even if you should meditate for about 10, 20 minutes a day, over a period of time, and consistently doing that, maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week, will get you in a certain state of mind where you can go deeper within yourself, delve as deep as you can, and begin to retrieve information. This is the uniqueness of ourselves. We all have this opportunity where we can go deep and begin to receive. As we begin to receive, not reseed, receive. In one of my books, I believe it was in The Wisdom of Akhenaten, as I am, it was channeled to me from Akhenaten, who said, those words, receive, has a higher meaning and symbolic. He said, think of sieve, Seive, turn the C into an S, sieve. A sieve is something that allows you to sort through things, to sift through energy, like a cook would, moving things back and forth like a panhandler, right? Those in search of gold had that little frame, right, with thin wire running through it. So they would scoop up the silt and sand and dirt and begin to shake it back and forth and wind up with little granulates of nuggets of gold. Ceive is connected to the word sept, CEPT, which means to go get something, to attain something. And the word RE, the prefix, means to repeat, but at a higher level. So when you reach out and you get the information, whether it's coming from me or Brother Lloyd or anybody, or you're looking at the tapes of Bobby Hemmett, you are receiving on a completely different level. Because by the time you go through all that information, you started at a lower level, but at the end, you were at a higher plateau. You were at such a higher plateau that you kept going higher and higher and higher till eventually the breakthrough. But you know what? We have more than one breakthrough. We never just have one. We have breakthroughs in subtle ways. Our viewpoints change. The kind of desires or the types of foods we have change. The kinds of people we want around us change. Your place of living may change. Your environment that you're around most of the time changes. This is significant to your well being because you are in search for something higher, not lower, not lesser, but higher. And you're wanting to know exactly how to get what you want. It's amazing. It's amazing when you're able to reach out and beyond. As you reach out and beyond, you are able to separate yourself from others. But in the process of separating, you come back together as one. You realize all of us are looking through a diamond, a faceted diamond. And the facets are many. They become so infinite because the deeper and the longer we stay looking at something, the more expansive it becomes. We might find ourselves on the inside of the gem and no longer on the outside of the gem because we are seeking knowledge. We're seeking this information all the time. So, can you imagine as you seek information all the time, what is actually truly happening? You are awakening. But I'm going to also say this: not only are you awakening, you are reawakening. And I say reawakening because you have done this before. We know we come into the earth plane and the rule and regulations is to forget who you are. Everybody wears a mask. We all forget who we are. We start utilizing the soul, which is the accumulation of all the lives that we have lived, from one planet to the next, to another galaxy, to another. We go into our soul because it has everything. We come out on the other side as a higher consciousness, infinite consciousness being known as the higher self. That is the reflection and the oneness of unity with the divine I am presence. I am that I am. And up there, above you, I am that I am. We're one and the same. We come to realize that maybe we're the angels that we're seeking. We're the generations of ancestors. Perhaps we're the 5,024 generations of ancestors, and we're at the top. So all of our ancestors are inside of us. I heard something else today. It was on scientists on YouTube saying that when a mother's pregnant, she shares many things with the baby. She shares the baby's DNA cellular memory. She shares some of that baby's brain with her, and vice versa. I thought that to be quite powerful. That even though your mother and father can still be gone 30, 40 years, you still have them in you. And they left with you and them, never ending. Every time we interact with other people, we're leaving a part of ourselves with them, and they are leaving a part of their selves with us. But if they are of the same lineage that you are, within terms of your family, that family lineage is going to outweigh the other. So we actually are continuing what our ancestors have done before us. We're carrying it out one step further. We are their prayers in action. I'll say that again. We are our ancestors' prayers in action. So now, if you were to meditate upon that, that would take you into something, wouldn't it? Well, before I delve into this book, the key to life is numerology, your name and date of birth through the study of numbers, and the fact that my course is going to be 12 to 18 weeks long. So if you consider on taking this, you're going to have to give me 18 weeks in a row on a Wednesday, starting February the 1st. If you want to know more information, if you go back and look at my prior videos of this week and last week, when I talk about it, look for the same banner that says the key to life is numerology with the sunset pattern in the background. If you look at one of those, I tell you how much the course is. But to give you that information in detail, all you got to do is email me at iam.circleofgrace with the number one at the end at gmail.com. That's I am dot circle of grace one at gmail.com. And I'll give you all that information about the early bird price, which is going to be accepted from January the 2nd through January the 18th. And if you're unable to get in at that time, I'm not going to close it out. You still have time up to February the 19th. So from January the 19th to February the 19th is the higher price. Now, people say, well, what if I can give you $100 out? Well, when I give you this information, if you can throw out that $100 immediately, then that'll save you, and then you just pay the balance of the early bird price. I'm looking to teach about 10 to 15 people. This is going to be a live streaming class. So it's not going to be like I send you out a video. It's live on my private Zoom platform. 10 to 15 people starting on 7 p.m. February the 1st, 2023. So I'm looking forward to share that class with you. If you have my book, you use my book as a backup, but I'm going to send out the highlights of the lessons, and I will perhaps have a PowerPoint presentation that I'll throw up every now and then, just to give you some keywords and give you some things to look at. We're going to study the aspects of the name first in part one, and in part two of the course, we're going to look at the significant points of the birth date information. I'm also going to give you a glimpse of the Chaldean system halfway through and toward the end using the Chaldean alphabet numerology system. We're going to work with the modern numerology system because it's the easiest to remember for most people. But we'll incorporate the Chaldean so you can know if the numbers are the same or if they're different in your name. We're going to cover a lot of bases. There's going to be 11 paid classes and 7 free classes. And those free classes within the course are reviews so you can get information. That's what it's all about. I want you to get as much information as you can, digest as much as you can. Wednesday night, February the 1st, 2023, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when the class begins. So email me as soon as you can. Send me an email and say, Brother Francis, I want to get all the particulars so I can get my money together so I can register. Okay? So again, my email is iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. So you can get that information. You'll have it on file. You can start putting your funds together so you can join me. It's a live class. When this course is over, I'm going to also send out some additional information. I have a small ebook called the power of numbers. And I've taught that as numerous different courses, but it's going to show you the 9 keys, the most important 9 keys that will help you have a more successful life, whatever that word success means to you. You're going to get that. And you're going to get some audio tips, numerology, additional reviews in audio that's free. You're also going to get some additional tips in a video that I'm going to stream, and you'll get a copy of it. Plus, at the end of each class within the 18 weeks, when the class is over, I'm going to send you a summary of that class in either audio or video. So you're going to have a nice library of things. Give you as much information as I can over an 18-week stretch. Well, before I close this out, one of the things I want to talk about, let your brother use it, but I think, yeah, you'll let him keep it and buy another one. Okay. Yeah, I have some people back on Long Island that bought this book and they left it with somebody, and the person don't want to give it back. It's got a lot of information. So, it's the book is set up like a course in itself. And because it's set up like a course in itself, you can learn through that book as well. But now this 18 weeks, like a college semester, I'll be teaching from the book, and I'll have some things set up so that you can learn as much as you can. Well, one of the things, before I jump into the book, because I want to give some information, I gave out a little tidbit earlier. I was talked about addresses, and I'll go into it a little bit. I might be using that chapter two, addresses, in the course. I want to talk about, people always talk about meditation again, and how long should they meditate. And meditation is something that you do every day. Now, what I've learned on my own is never try to do the meditation if you're extremely upset or angry about something, because what you're upset and angry about goes out into the ethers around you, and it starts to peel back more of the same. You want to try to meditate when you're a little more at peace of mind with yourself and your environment. Then you can spend 10, 20 minutes. You can start out with like 10 minutes and then do that for 2 weeks and then build yourself up to 5 more minutes. That's 15 weeks. By the time you get into your fourth or fifth week, you're encroaching 20 minutes of meditation. And within 6 weeks, you can sit in meditation for 30 minutes. And sometimes people have been able to sit for an hour. Meditation is about finding your center of being. Being what? Being yourself. Allowing yourself to remember your status with the universe, who you are in relationship to the finer points of the universe and the most expansive part of the universe. Meditation can be utilized to help you overcome certain illnesses and weaknesses, psychological issues. It can help you reduce high blood pressure. It can help you reduce worry and anxiety. The longer you practice meditation, the better you get. Now, there are some times when you're meditating, you don't get anything. Well, that doesn't mean you're not getting anything. It just means a lot of things are being worked on behind the scenes in the deeper subconscious level of yourself. And once you begin to realize that, then you're able to move forward with patience. And as you move forward with patience, then more information from the inside of you internally gets released into your sympathetic nerve system. Positive energy gets released. Positive thoughts and feelings gets released. Positive levels of sensitivity begin to open up on the inside of you. And you begin to bridge the gap between the material world, physical world, and the spiritual world or the metaphysical world. You begin to realize you've had all the knowledge all before, the understanding all before, the wisdom. You just was unaware. Sometimes that's okay. We don't have to know everything all the time, but we begin to graduate bit by bit and we begin to remember what it is that we need to put into place. That's what's so powerful about meditation. You can have patience, serenity, and peace, love yourself more in meditation, and eventually you bless yourself. When you get real deep enough with your meditation, you also are aware there's certain talents and gifts you have naturally, and they begin to come to the surface. You begin to remember. And through your remembrance, you are shown a path or many paths to get where you need to go to evolve into a higher being and to go back into your mind and heart and realize you are an infinite being. You're just not this limited person with some clothes, skin, and bones. You are, in essence, beyond that. So, meditation can be used to figure out your dreams, comprehend your dreams, get an answer about your dream, whether it's a repetitive dream or a dream that just has nothing but light and color or a dream that has nothing being shown. When you have dreams that show nothing, like it's just dark, you're in the womb of yourself, in the womb of your mind. And you're getting ready to have the light click on so you can see a little bit. And more light, wisdom, understanding, grace, compassion, intuition, and ability to be empathic as these things unfold in you, you get triggered and then you begin to remember. That's the greatest thing about it. You start remembering. And as you remember, you just keep going. Because what you can't figure out in a dream will come to you in a meditation. I'll say this again. Ancient shamans have said, your physical world is what you have dreamt about. Your spiritual world, your dream world, is your real world. In there, you're your own hero and heroine. In there, you are the warrior, the successful one. In there, you are the healer. Down here, you're the wounded healer. But up there, in the higher echelons of your own divinity, you discover that you are truly divine and that you can attain information at will. That is the beauty of who you are. So that's why we meditate. We meditate consistently, more and more and more, so that we can receive. Hey, Oracle T, how you doing? I've been on since about 9:16 Mountain Time, 11:16 Eastern Time, but this is live, and I'm leaving the chat open so that if you refer back to this, you'll be able to see other people's comments and questions. I'm talking about an array of things. I'm talking about numerology. I'm talking about dreams. I'm talking about metaphysical, spiritual connections to all of that. I'm going to talk about my book more this evening. I also have been mentioning that my first online live streaming course on numerology will run for 12, uh, actually 11 up to 18 weeks. Really, 18 weeks, like a college course through my own private Zoom platform. And that's going to start February the 1st, 2023. And I'm looking for anywhere from 10 to 15 paid students. So if you're interested, you just email me as soon as you can. Email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com, because the registration for early bird fees, where you save about $103, starts on January the 2nd and ends on January the 18th. Then the higher price kicks in on January the 19th and runs for 4 weeks up to February the 19th, because I want to give people time, if they can only take, sign in then and pay that higher fee. All they have to do is plunk down like $100, and then they could pay the balance off in installments. So email me and I'll tell you how you can make those payments and so forth. It's going to be a very good course, very much like the book. Part one, we're going to work on names, all the significant parts of the name. And then part two, there will be moments of reviews in there. And part two, we're going to work on the date of birth. So the book is definitely like a manual, teaching manual. So if you have it for the course, and then I'm going to give some highlights of each of the weeks. I'll send out a highlight page of about a page or two. So it gives you something to know that what I'll be teaching at each point. Then at some point, we have some reviews, which are the free classes set in there. So you can get further explanation on the things being taught. Okay, so this is a great way for people to get the information and really start to grow using numerology. And I have some of my ways in which I talk about the numbers, and you'll find them in my book. The Key to Life is Numerology, Your Name and Date of Birth Through the Study of Numbers. So the course is based on this book, and it'll run pretty close to the book. We're going to work with the modern numerology alphabet, and that's going to be predominating this course. But I'm going to introduce the Chaldean at some point, just so we can play with it. It'll be introduced in the review portions, so we can play with it, so you can see how the difference, what your name looks like in the modern system, Pythagorean system, and then what it looks like in the Chaldean. Maybe the numbers may change in your first name, in the soul, and the personality, or the full expression. It may change or it may not, but you get to see that. You get to discover that. So one of the things too to talk about, meditation is a hip tool, because when you're in meditation, you're actually opening yourself up. Now, as you open yourself up, you may think that you're being downloaded, and you are to some degree. But much of the information that you're seeking, you already have placed it inside yourself. That's why you have the soul. The soul is that part of you that has accumulated all the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, all the formulas, all the recipes, all the tablets, because you've lived all over. There's a place you haven't lived, but you begin to remember. It's embedded in your soul, and your soul is with your higher self, and both are inside of you as well as around you. So you get a chance, an opportunity to have this information revealed to you, and it can be revealed through meditation. Just like you have dreams. And again, the ancients say that this world that we find ourselves in, many of us have dreamt about it. But in the dream world, that is our real world. That's when we have the superhuman powers, so to speak, make changes at every level. We can change the outcome of any problem that we are experiencing in the dream world. We could figure it out, execute it, in a higher frame of consciousness and then come back down here and play it out. So that means we can change our lives. And we are always about changing our lives. Always. Dreams and meditation and prayer, affirmations and affirmative prayers and decrees, they go hand in hand. An affirmation is a statement of truth, something that you already know is true. That's why you can affirm it. So you could take a quality or a trait about yourself and turn it into an affirmation. You can repeat that affirmation over and over and over to lock in that energy within yourself. You can create a prayer for yourself from your heart. I have a signature course called the 5-Point Creative Pathwork System, and that's what that course teaches. How to write an affirmation, how to write a prayer, how to write an affirmative prayer treatment for yourself, how to utilize meditation, and how to utilize decrees, and how to write your own decree. In that course, you can take it one-on-one or in group format. I'm looking for a group setup here in numerology, but if it happens that I only get one-on-ones, the prices are still the same. They don't change. So here we are, all of my beautiful people coming on at this time and listening to this information that I'm sharing. Now, I know I'm sharing it briefly because I don't want to overload you with too much information. And for those of you that might be, coming in and taking the course with me live in February for 18 weeks, I want to have some information for you. I don't want to bore you now with that information, but I want to interject it during course time. People often ask, do I understand what lucid dreaming is? I do. Have I ever experienced a lucid dream? Many. Now, this doesn't make me an expert in lucid dreams, but I have experienced lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is when you become totally aware and awake that you are dreaming, but your physical body is still asleep, which kind of gives us the feeling that we could be operating in two fields, two domains at the same time. Our physical body can be at total rest. You see it rise and fall through the chest area or the abdominal area. You can see your eyes darting underneath your eyelids, but yet you're outside of the body, looking down on it or looking across the room at it. When you're in the dream body, you don't see your face. You can see your hands, see the rest of your body. You don't see your back. Unless you're standing in front of a reflective mirror, then you can see your back. So when you're in the dream body, everything kicks in. Your five physical senses and your ESP kicks in at the same time. That way you get more true information, honest information that you're looking to have or experience, but you get to see it and experience it when you're lucid dreaming. Another word for lucid is clarity, clear dreaming. You're having the experience and you can tell, you can trace it back to a particular life's experience that you've had or have been deprived of, yet you can get the information. This is what's so powerful about dreams. Because just like we need to meditate daily, we dream a lot. Sometimes we daydream. Many of us have done that, been in a classroom and a professor or a school teacher's teaching, and we're kind of close to the window, so we're looking outside. And all of a sudden, the teacher is aware that we're not in with the rest of the classmates. We're outside. But we're beyond outside. We're up in the higher echelons of our auric field, having a whole another experience. This is good for us to know. Let me have a little bit more water. Should have came out here with a picture. The ability to dream is very important. The more we can dream, the more we will attain. The more we can dream, the more we will attain and begin to remember about ourselves. I mean, we just didn't come back here to teach or lay around. We came back here to discover ourselves and move forward. Sometimes in this period time of self-discovery, we can have an experience where we're seeing ourselves across the different lanes of life. We can see there's some part of us that's ahead of us that has already mastered these things, has already dominated the life in a way where they're in absolute control of it and what goes on in their life and how successful they have been and what they've learned from the ups and the down moments in their lives. That's the one who's the most successful. That is an extension of ourselves. So we get to see the future us, and we get to see the past us, and we get to see how everything is interconnected. That's another thing, because once we can see how we're interconnected to each other, then we don't fail. We don't have a reason for failing. We only have a reason for success. That's what we're all seeking: how to be more successful, how to be happier, how to have more wisdom, more understanding, more compassion, more grace. How can we have more? You can ring it up for lucid dreaming. You can ring it up in a regular dream that's more symbolic. You can have your out of body experiences, which I call soul traveling, and getting more information about who you truly are and putting that into motion while you're alive right now. Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder of the Agape Church, he just now recently celebrated. He started his church in 1996, so he's now celebrating his 26th anniversary of the Agape International Spiritual Center. That's Dr. Michael Beckwith. Follow him online. He's a passionate teacher when it comes to meditation, and when he talks about inspirational thinking and affirmations and how they work. Go to the platform for Reverend Ike's Legacy.org or reverendike.org and listen to those old audios and watch those old videos. He's got so much keys that he's given away that they're timeless. They worked back then and they work now. Reverend Ike, IKE. There are a lot of teachings that we need to let ourselves review and see and experience. Reverend Ike studied the teachings of Neville Goddard, Goddard, Neville, Neville. He used to talk about see the end as now. He was talking about being able to create this energy where you can manifest the end as now because you're seeing it at the end. You don't see anything else in between. Get these old books. Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain, Gawain. I got that book right over there. And I didn't even know that I was going in that direction. But I was studying meditation in college, and after I got out of college in 74, I wanted something else to study. I was delving into numerology then. And it all began to make sense. I was already into meditation and Tai Chi in college. But I wasn't about learning how to fight with the Tai Chi. I was learning how to open myself up because I knew it could be done. So there's a lot of things that are coming back to us that we need to engage in. Study lucid dreaming, study remote viewing. You can study with people. There's tons of teachers from the high engineering side to retired military officers who studied this or look for Ingo Swann, INGO Swann, SWANN, and he was somebody that was an engineer and a psychic and so forth, and developed remote viewing. Now, people who practice remote viewing, they will tell you it has nothing to do with psychic ability. But that guy, Ingo Swann, he's a psychic and an artist, and he developed it along with military people, developed a protocol for remote viewing. But remote viewing is not hard to do. It's not hard at all. That's consciously traveling out into the ethers ahead of yourself to attain information. It's not that difficult. You just need time to work on it, to develop the skill. We all have it. This is an amazing time. We need to utilize everything that we know about. Now, again, people ask me, have I taken ayahuasca? No. And they ask me, why not? I said, because I don't need that. I already have that inside of me on some level. I just need to know how to turn on the switch. So we have meditation at our disposal, lucid dreaming at our disposal, dreaming at our disposal, numerology at our disposal. So many things we have. We just have to learn how to find it on the inside, unlock the doors on the inside. There's so many things that I could talk about. You can go to my website, http colon double forward slash www.circleofgrace with the number one .us. You can go there and you can read everything I got set up there. I talk about spiritual mentorship. I talk about my spiritual counseling fees and what they cost and what each one does. I talk about the 5-point creative pathwork system that I have. I talk about creative pathwork meditation series. That's links into that a little bit. Well, you can begin to study these things. I'm developing more courses as time goes on. I have a course on selenite, a 13-week course on selenite, based on my book. And I should get them out here. Based on my book, The Age of Remembrance, the Divine Iron Presence in Selenite. I'm on a mission to write books. My selenite course, 13 weeks, is based on this book, The Age of Remembrance, the Divine I Am Presence in Selenite. I talk about my experiences in 1988 with selenite and how selenite is a healer. Selenite is a spiritual healer. Selenite is a transformer, spiritual transformer. I talk about the connection between selenite, the gemstone, and selenium in your body. There's a connection between the two. That connection between the two is the reason you would have selenite in your home, because your soul is utilizing your body to ring up selenium, cause the vibration to come up inside of you, and then your body leads you to it. I talk about selenite as a personal transformer. I talk about remembrance is key. I talk about what beloved Akhenaten speaks and says, what beloved Mother Grace, that's my ancestor, my biological mother, speaks and says, what the beloved Nefertiti speaks and says. You need to get this book. This book will help you comprehend selenite. I talked earlier about, my course, the 5 point creative pathwork system, is based on this book. Decree and it shall be, speak as I am. All these books are on Amazon. You need to tap into Nefertiti's book, The Gift, The Wisdom of Nefertiti as I Am. That's a channeled book. The Gift is a channeled book. That's the second channeled book. The first channeled book, The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am. All these books are helpful. If you read them, if you're drawn to them, they're going to trigger your remembrance. And then you begin to have flashbacks. You'll begin to have dreams. And you'll begin to realize everything that you're doing now has something to do with them because you were there. These books talk about my personal remembrance. But I found out there were other people back there in the city of Akhetaten just like I was. So let me tap in to this dreams. I will have been on, I'm already on 90 minutes, but I want to share some information. I mentioned earlier that this is for single digits, but can be used for compound numbers as well. The single digits 1 through 9, and how they show up on homes, workplaces, other places, places you like going to, in terms of the address. If an address number adds to 1, people who frequent this location are natural leaders, organizers, directors. The people can be presidents of their own companies and might be involved in political communities. People here are independent, inventive, and take charge of everything. This is for people who live in a house, a workplace, or any other place that adds to 1, meaning that when that number, be it a 2 digit, 3 digit, 4 digit, whatever, breaking it down to 1 to 9, that those people are in there. Now, this also goes for a compound number, 3 digit, 4 digit addresses. If an address number adds to 2, people are negotiators and very diplomatic. They know exactly what they want to do and how to work with coworkers, spouses, and neighbors. Generally, these people who come under the vibration of 2 at a workplace or home are well liked. They see everyone as an equal. They are lovers of peace and will strive to understand everyone else's views and philosophy in life. That is very powerful about the number 2. The number 1 now, address, connects you to Leo, Aquarius, Pisces, and Cancer, and some Aries people. Business entrepreneurs are found in a house or workplace that adds to 1. But if it's a 2, this will attract Cancer and Pisces, as well as Leos and Aquarius, and some people under the sign of Taurus. Because 2 likes to touch things. 2s are the diplomats. 2s are the ambassadors of peace, harmony, and happiness. If an address number adds to 3, most people here are very creative and not afraid to express their opinions and what they feel is truth to them. People love to have fun, and someone enjoys organizing and hosting parties, conferences, symposiums, reunions, you name it, they do it, anniversaries. They got that 3 going. They're drawn to a building that adds to 3, a workplace or residence. They are either formally or informally educated. They love education and they are stimulated by healthy conversation. And even if the conversation involves a prank or a joke, they can handle it. You will find people here born under the sign of Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini. If the address adds to 4, people at this address are connected to forming alliances of an unusual nature. In other words, it might be two people who don't get along, but they're in that building that adds to 4. Many of them can be scientific minded, connected to nature, and will have friends or mates that are older than themselves. They get better and better. They learn more when they're around people who are older than them. Many are geniuses and lovers of technology. This usually attracts Aquarius, Leo, Pisces, and Cancer. They are builders and they like to construct things, fix things with their hands. They like to repair things like cars, computers. They work on computer software. They do not mind being different from you or I. And again, they attract older companions and friends. Well, if the address number adds to 5, people here are youthful in appearance and they are very inquisitive, curious people. On the flip side, we might call them nosy. They love to share information they have researched and have desire to be mentally stimulated and like physical activity as they become easily bored. So five's got to have something to do, always on the go. They are attracted to the people born under the signs of Gemini, Virgo, and some Leos. If the address of their house or workplace or place of enjoyment adds to 6, you will meet people who are parental, protective, and nurturing, as many will enjoy placing themselves in service through volunteer work and being a caregiver. People here love to share their knowledge with others, especially connect with those who feel like family to them. Some are very good at bartering, trading, and finding bargains. They like a house that is clean and well lived in, and they like to feel that they are being cared for and loved. Sometimes they may take it a little too far, but this is who they are. You will find people connected to them. They are into education, especially for children. So this 6 house number or apartment building or place of business as a 6 draws in Libra, Taurus, and Virgo at times. Well, how about we got 3 more numbers? If an address number adds to 7, and this is good to know, if an address number adds to 7, the people here are older, more mature, and they also like the number 4 and the number 8 to attract older people into their lives. Why? Because they feel that those older people understand them. They don't feel out of place. They enjoy spending time alone and be very quiet to the level you can share physical space with them, but you don't even know they're there. Why? Because they're very quiet. What is also unique is that they're spiritually oriented people. They're very good at understanding other people they meet and also people that they have around them. People will say, they're a little eccentric. No, they're just quiet and they're taking in information very deeply. They love to be highly educated. They will also travel, but they'll travel to places that pique their interests. They will largely learn independent of others. They don't need to be in a group setting. Many here are attracted to the mystical, metaphysical, spiritual, and otherworldly matters. They usually attract Pisces. So the seven attracts what the twos and fours and ones attract. Seven brings in Pisces and also Libra. I noticed it was left out here. If the address number adds to an eight, people here have partners, mates, and friends older than themselves, like the fours and the sevens. They are prone to fight for the underdog and love to be in service to humanity. Eights have a very good understanding of the kinds of people around them and can be found handling finances at, as well. They love money. You can meet people who are Capricorn, Leo, and a few Scorpios. Take their time, all of them take their time to make a decision. They understand the value of material items, property, and usually hold on to antiques or other items passed down through one's family. If the address number adds to nine, be careful. At this location, remember these are addresses that add to one or nine, a place of residence or a place of work, or it could be a place of enjoyment. This means what you'll find here is some people that carry a little bit of warrior type energy. This means they're very good at conducting debates and arguing their points. They enjoy traveling to distant places, attending reunions and anniversaries. These people love education that is formal and informal. Some are very competitive and like to be in control of their affairs. Many are like humanitarians. They will work for others, but not too long, as they rather be self employed. This is something that's about the number nine people. Well, fours like to be independent, sevens like to be independent, eight likes to be independent, and so does nine. So most nine people are self employed. Who else is self employed? Fours, sevens, and eights. They can work with other people, but they like being there for themselves. Now, usually that will attract people born under the sun signs of Aries, Scorpio, and some Sagittarians. Now, I'm not going to go through everything here, but I do have numbers that take you to 11 to 99 in this book as well. So, just in case if you came across an address that have it, you can refer to the book and get that information. Does anybody have any questions? I've been on now 2 hours. Does anybody have any questions? And by the way, I'm leaving this little blurb here because I'm going to block this person out when the show is off. But what I will say is if they're on mine, they might try to come to yours. So just look them up as the way they have it, and then you'll go over there with the ellipses, the three dots, click on it, and you can block them. That's okay. I'm not really done yet. Oh, the names of my other books are Decree and It Shall Be, Speak As I Am. It's on Amazon, and the price of the book. I think the price of this book is $12. It's on Amazon. It's based on my course on my website. If you go to www.circlegrace1.us and look up there about spiritual mentoring and classes and courses, you'll see the information about this. I taught about three or four people earlier this year. They took the course, Decree and It Shall Be. It's about how to use affirmations, affirmative prayers, that's three, right? Affirmations, affirmative prayers, and prayers, as well as meditation, as well as decrees to speak as an I am personality. If you want to know about the teaching of selenite, I don't list the selenite course in there, but I do teach it, and there's a specific price I have for it. This is the book. This is a picture of a tabular piece of selenite that I have in my living room. There's a face in there, and there's a face looking at you, a black eyebrow and a white eyebrow with an eye, two eyes, and a nose looking right at you. It's a guardian. This is the age of remembrance, the divine I am presence in selenite. I've been working with selenite since 1988 when I first came in touch with it. If you go on Amazon, you'll see what they cost, each one of the books. The two channeled books are these guys. I channeled this one first, The Wisdom of Akhenaten as I Am. That's my real full name. You go to Amazon. Both of these books, I believe, go for $11.11. And this one happens to be in ebook format, but the rest of them aren't. And when you go get this information, you can. This is about my personal remembrance of being with Akhenaten in his city called Akedaton. I had an awakening with him. He had been around me since 2006, popped in around 2009 very firmly, has never left my side. He comes to me often with information. He likes giving information in my numerology charts too. And then his companion is the gift. And this is the wisdom of Nefertiti as I am. And these are the teachings that she gave at the same time Akhenaten was teaching. In fact, her book is an extension of Akhenaten's book. Both of those books talk about the blue flame and how it's connected to Sirius. Sirius is their planet, and they have a ton of information in these books and how you are able to now again, people that are drawn to the Akhenaten and Nefertiti book, some people aren't. I've had a lot of students out here and they take my meditation class, and sometimes I can see the blue light on them right at their throat chakra. When I see that, that I know they have a connection to me and they were around with me when I was with the two of beloveds, Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Now, I also have another book. It was my first book that I wrote. If you want to know how I got this way, then you get this book. This book sells for $25 as a paperback, and as an ebook, it's $8.88. The Akhenaten book is $7.77 as an ebook. So you go on Amazon. And all you got to do on Amazon, you can go to Amazon and type in books by, and then put my name, Francis E. Revels-Bey. And when it comes up, click on my name and it shows you the other books with the prices and all. This talks about how I got this way. And since I talk about my mother, late mother, so much, this is a drawing. I was an art major in college. This is a drawing of how my mother looked back in 19. Well, the drawing is not. She sat for this in 1976. This is the actual still portrait of Mother Grace. She stood about 5'3". She was born August the 11th, 1918, in Thomasville, Georgia. That's just the way she looks. This was done using a regular writing pen, a regular black writing pen. And I was able to draw her. In fact, she dared me. She says, "You went to college to be an art major. I want to see what you've learned. Draw me." And then she said, "Draw me now, because this might be the only time you will have a record of me. So what she was saying was she knew that she was going to transition 3 years after. I didn't know. She had an inkling. So rather me, you know how photographs can fade. She knew that I had that drawing. I have several copies of that drawing. I keep one in my bedroom. This is so I can turn. I keep one on my altar. She was my first spiritual teacher. There's some life experiences that she told me in the spring of 1979 that would happen to me. And I've experienced it all. Especially, she said I would come live here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She told me that in the spring of 1979 that I would come live here. This was my home and to never leave it. And if I do, I'm just traveling out, but I'm not going back. She said, the East Coast is not for you. She says, your gifts will die on the East Coast, but you go to the West, you go to Albuquerque, and they will continue to expand. And here I am, 11 years later, still here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Again, this is an amazing time. We're here to learn to remember who we are. Remember that the paths that we chose to remember. And what is so interesting? We are not the only ones on our paths. With all the teachers that are out there, we are not the only ones. And that's good. Because then that means the burden is not on one or 100 people. The burden is shared collectively. And everybody awakens when they're supposed to. And they are having revelations when they are supposed to. They receive prophetic information through dreams or through other people and through themselves. This is a time when we are all coming together in our own way. She often said to me, and I say to other people, I'm just here to turn on the light inside of you. With all of these different disciplines, I'm turn on the light. I jumped there a little bit. I'm going to turn on the light, and I'm going to be able to recognize you. So, what is of interest is that this is all about stepping up to a higher level. So, those of you who have come in, I'm not going to jump off right now. Do you have any questions in regards to numerology, dreams, lucid dreaming, meditation, out of body experiences? I study a lot of it, I put a lot of it into motion, and I deal with clients every day and students around the world as well. Feel free to ask your questions now. Also, realize this is a live chat, so when I sign off, if you come back and replay the chat, you'll see where people come in and make their questions as I'm answering. And you can also leave your questions. But I would suggest that if you have several questions you want to ask across the board, then if go to my website, www.circleofgrace with the number one at the end, .us. Go there, read about everything I have up there. There's even a section called Books on Amazon. When you click on the site, you'll see me with a blue fedora and a cobalt blue fedora and cobalt blue shirt. And you go right on down there. You'll see the very first thing I talk about is the 5-point creative pathway system. That's my signature system. And I teach that as a course. And then you slow down and you see an image on a numerology book. But if you go to Books on Amazon and click on that, you'll see most of the books there except for The Key to Life is Numerology. But you'll see every book that's in there. You can learn all about Francis. about Circle Grace One, what that's all about. Creative Pathwork Meditation Series. I'm giving classes on that right now, one on one with many people from the East Coast to the West Coast. If you have any questions, ask me now. I have all the 6 courses lined up. The only one that doesn't have a course on it is the book, The Key to Life. Let me see. I got a lot. The only one that doesn't have a course is this book, Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace. This talks about my life's experiences, things that happened to me. I have chapter number 19 is about the art of manifesting your heart's desires in this book. The path to spiritual freedom is chapter 18, about things we have to overcome. Heart centered reality is chapter 17. I originally wrote this book in 2003, and I didn't know how to get it into publication by 2004. So I used to copyright all of the manuscripts and I would sell them. Then I got over here and I showed these books to some new people. There were shamans out here. They read the manuscript form to each other every night, and they said it read like a movie. So they helped me get it into this paperback form. Now this one doesn't have this one doesn't have an ISB number to it, but the one on Amazon, which is revised because we added more chapters to it. We went from 22 chapters to 34. I added 12 more chapters. It's in this book. So there's like 2 books in one. But when you go to Amazon, you'll have the ISBN number, and it has all 34 chapters. So there's 12 more chapters that I added to revise the book, and I revised it in 2017, and it has them in here as well as the books on Amazon. Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace. And I created that picture. This guy here in this picture is now the guy here, the guy in the meditation pose. That is the same person here. You get this book, you learn about the different things. You learn about affirmations and prayers. You learn about some of my life's experiences. Some of them weren't good, but I put them in the book. And you get the experience. I talk about some affirmations in here that are channeled affirmations in the universal prayers and decrees. They were channeled. They're in that book. Again, are there any questions, comments? I've been on for 2 hours and 17 minutes. Some of you just came on. It's okay. You might want to replay this. When you do replay it, please type in hashtag replay so I know that you replayed it at whatever segment that you are on. Now, when I say any question, I know some people like to get your numerology information. Um, we have someone traveling here that's not a member in my site, person leaving up porn stuff, you know. So I don't want you to put your birth date in here. What you could do is send your birth date information to iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com, and I'll give you a little bit of insight. I will be on Lloyd's show coming up on Wednesday, December the 28th, 2022, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be on Lloyd Strayhorn's Live with Lloyd on Wednesday evening, December the 28th, 2022, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to talk about my numerology book. We're going to talk about my course that I'm giving, that 12 plus week course, which really goes out to 18 weeks. You want to ask me questions about that, you can send it to the email. I'll send you all the pertinent information on how to pay for it, how to sign up, how to register. Registration doors open on January the 2nd through January the 18th for the early bird fee, where you get to save $103. Then the standard fee is set in motion on January the 19th and ends at midnight on February the 19th, but it gives you 4 weeks to pay for it. And if you happen to go that route, you lock it in with about $100, and then we work out installment payments for you. You have any questions? Ask now. Ask me anything pertaining to meditation, numerology, lucid dreaming, the things that I've talked about this evening. Those of you that came on late, you can still ask me a question. I love questions and I love to answer. I love to help you. I'm here as a spiritual counselor to give you more clarity in your own life and help you discover your purpose or make your purpose better for yourself, how to redefine it for you. You know, our purpose changes as we change and evolve, our purpose in life changes. I'm open to questions. I've been on now 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 44 seconds and counting. Soon it'll be 2 hours and 21 minutes. Do you have any questions? Rose, do you have a question? Melanie, do you have a question? Oracal, do you have a question? I just had somebody else pop me with a lead. If you have any questions, ask right now. I don't know if Lauren is still on or if Bernadette is still on. I know these people, they're good friends of mine out here in Albuquerque. Again, this is a live chat, so if you were to come back later and replay this, then what would happen is that you would be able to uh, see the information as it came up. You know, numerology is all over the world. It's not just in one little cubicle of places. You can always go to my website, www.circlegrace1.us, to gain more information about my classes and courses and things. You can even ask me about handwriting analysis. I didn't talk about that, huh? I should talk about that. It's also known as graphology. And that's a very unique practice in itself because you get to study the lines of someone's script. And what I like to do, that some graphologists, they use a magnifying glass. I do that too. I get to see the type of broad stroke of the pen on the paper, whether it's smooth or ragged paper. And you get to see the pressure, the dots. And what I do is I turn the page over and I read the pressure into the page, which is using psychometry. And I get a whole nother set of information about someone. Graphology is an ancient but modern tool, and it's all about energy. I used to give a workshop back up in Harlem. This is right after I met Lloyd. He and I were participating in a lot of psychic fairs out there on the west side, the east side, all over Harlem. And I used to teach a workshop in Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx. My workshop was called Handwriting is Mind Writing. That was a workshop that I taught. And it was how the impulses, electrical impulses, flow through the body. And we're trying to control that. But it's the energy that flows through, up and through us. And it causes us to create the script. And sometimes you could tell how the script is leaning if it was right handed or left handed. There's a certain key that lets you know the difference between a right handed and a left handed person in most cases. Let me get you to ask some questions. Let's see what else I'm writing out here. What else could you ask me? There you go. Maybe you might have questions along those lines. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me this evening at whatever time you came in. I know some of you got on late, and I don't know, some of you might be at a completely different time zone. You may not even be in the United States when you get this or see this live, but you could always contact me. I'm a person, once I see your email, I answer. iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. Send me your questions and answers, and I'll do my best to serve and help you in that capacity. I'm here to help you, and I enjoy being of service to you. While I'm checking my phone here, you never know who's on here. Again, I like to help as many people as possible. As they're doing these iPhones here, they give us so much information, it's kind of hard to see what you want to see. Okay. All right. So while I'm waiting for all of you wonderful beings, you might have some information for me. Wow, I got a nephew here that just had his birthday. There's so much that's going on. I love this little guy. He's so energetic. I'll have to leave a message on his mama's phone, which is my niece's phone, to wish him a happy birthday. But if you have any questions, I'm open to answer. I think he turned 13 today. I have to give him a message at some point. I'll have to record it and upload it. Any questions, anybody? 2 hours and 27 minutes. Which means for me, in another 18 minutes, it'll be midnight. Yes, receiving messages from your dreams. Well, dreams are both symbolic, which means it's like you're watching a movie and watching yourself on the screen of your mind. So the things you see that way will be more symbolic. But if you're in your dream body, which means you don't see your face, then that's more of an actualized version. I would call it a more cognizant, more psychic level, precognitive psychic level, where the information starts to unfold for you. But you have to study everything in the dream, the people in the dream, what was said in the dream, what kind of clothes that you wore, what kind of clothes they wore, the colors, the time of day. All these things build up and start giving you information and what the messages are in the dream. In reality, these messages come in from our higher self, the aspect of ourselves that's connected to the divine source that already knows the direction that we need to go into. So, to ascertain that information, you have to write it out as if it was a movie. You have to also meditate upon it as well. The more you're able to meditate upon it, the more you start to remember of the dream. And then all the information you start to write down becomes very detailed. And then you're able to see that information that's being handed out to you. So, yeah, one of the things, keep a dream journal And to the best of your ability, write it out like a movie, meaning what someone said to you or didn't say to you. What was their mannerisms like? Were they older, younger, middle aged? See, all these things are important. So you begin to comprehend and understand what the dream is saying. Again, many times the things we see in our dreams are the reality, the real world. And the things that we are experiencing are the things we have dreamt over time. So we have a lot of work to do when it comes to interpreting dreams. And this is why you keep a dream journal. You might write the time of day, what sign the moon was in and the sun was in when you fell asleep, and what time it was when you awakened. That plays a part. If it's a repetitive dream, that means it's of urgency. If it's a nighttime, it's happening in the nighttime scene in the dream, that can be critical, very important. If it's like dawn, it's like the phrase, it just dawned on me, meaning it's just new, just popped in right now. So the time of day in a dream denotes how far or how much time you have before you respond to what's going on in the dream. People and children represent ideas. Buildings represent the way that we think. If it's an old, dilapidated building, old, dilapidated thoughts are not going to help you. Modern building, new thoughts. Elevators in buildings, if you're riding the elevators, letting you know what degree or level that you're coming into to comprehend what's going on in your life or what else you might need to do as a key to unlock information. Let's say you get off on the fifth floor. Fifth floor says change. You need to make changes. You need to be more curiosity driven. You need to ask a lot of questions. You need to maintain a youthful outlook on life and strive for longevity. So this is what happens when you have symbols popping up in dreams. When a dream keeps repeating itself, is giving you time upstairs through you. Your higher self is giving you more time to figure it out, get the information, and work it out to your advantage. That's some of the important things about dreams. Any other questions? It's 2 hours and 32 minutes, going on 2 hours and 33 minutes. So I guess I'll be signing off at almost almost one or 12. Yeah. Well, in the school means choices. Is the school new? It means new choices have to be made, new things you have to study. Some of the symbols that we see in dreams can be utilized just as they are in the dream. So the school means you're about to learn something, or you have learned something, or you're coming to completion. You're graduating. Then it depends now what kind of school. Tech school, computer school might mean become more technical, more detailed. The school of creativity, painting, arts, performance arts, become more creative, become more emotionally sensitive, pay attention to your feelings. Military school, get strong about your thoughts, get strong in decision making department. There's a lot of things that go on. Now, that's just in general, and as the dreams spell themselves out, you have to pay attention to the language of your own dreams. So when you keep a dream journal, you keep underlining or coloring over certain words or phrases that establishes a language for yourself in the dreams. Eventually, no two people dream alike. Like no two people born on the date of March 3rd, 1952 are the same, or 1962 are the same, because the different placement. Again, in dreams, the different placement of symbols when they come up in the dream. What was said to you? Was it babies in the dream? There was somebody pregnant, Someone is being fulfilled, being nurtured, needs the nourishment. Again, there's a lot of things in a dream. So you want to take your time and really begin to map it out. Our dreams are powerful, though, constantly giving us information so we can change our lives and make it better. Now, there's sometimes some things that happen in lucid dreams could be things that normally are not real in real life. That's also giving you a wake up sign, like to wake up in the dream. There's so many different things. So the more symbols you get, the stronger it gets for you. The more you're able to carry something out and actually see what it is. Are there any other questions? Melanie, are you still on? Do you have a question? Melanie Hall. Aura Cal T, are you still on? Oh, you're welcome, Rosie. Rose Jefferson. Quite welcome. Well, if no one else has any other questions, I'm going to sign out. My eyes are going through sleep mode. I'll probably take a nap and get up and read some books I have to read. But I want to thank everybody for being on here, catching up with me this evening. Sorry the notice went out late, but my ancestors kept me off the laptop all day today. They just had me relaxing. So I always try to, answer the call of the ancestors when they say, put this note out that you're going on in 16 minutes. I got to put it out. And I know whoever's supposed to see it will see it and arrive. Who else has any questions? One of the things is this podcast was 2 hours, 2.5 hours long. So I'm lucky and fortunate that I had the energy to put it out here this evening. Hopefully, I'll be able to come on more often. Once I start teaching, though, that's going to be a lot of energy. When I'm teaching that course or any course that I teach, they're about 90 minutes long. So it gives plenty of time for question and answers to go on. Anybody else has a question? Melanie Hall, are you still here? Oracal T. Lauren, are you still here? Bernadette, are you still here? If you are, ask a question now. Got any questions? Ask now. Yep, I got about 8 minutes before I close out. Let's see. I'm still on. Again, my email address is iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. If you have any questions, please comment now. We always have a lot of things happening. Are there any questions? Anybody? We're always having something that we can share here. Let's see. All right. Any other questions? I got about 6 minutes to go and I'm going to sign off. Any other questions? Again, I'm glad to serve you. And any time, if you're not a subscriber, please click like and subscribe so you can get a notification. Most of you, I have your emails. Last couple of times I've been on, I'm supposed to get a notification when somebody clicks the notification bell that, the information went out to you. So there's going to be a few, probably 10 more people that still didn't get in here because of that. Then I had to get a email out late. So I will come back on Tuesday, which is the 22nd, with some more information. Because again, I want to get as much information as I can out to everybody before Thanksgiving. And then I'll be on maybe Friday, and I'll also come on maybe Saturday because I don't have to teach a meditation class on Saturday at the location where I normally go to. So I could probably come on Saturday and teach again so you can get this information. That'll be the 26th, and I'll probably come on Sunday, the 27th, and talk. If there are no more questions, I'm going to get ready to sign off. 2 more minutes. In the meantime, thank you again for joining me, coming out, asking questions, participating on whatever level you wanted to. Um, I'll probably put this link out in a different kind of way after I'm done streaming because I may have this site set up so people can't pull off the video and utilize it, but they could share the video in a different way. As we're ticking down. Thank you so much for being supportive and coming on. I hope that many of you do get a chance to register and enroll in my first online numerology class taught live through my Zoom channel, taught to you live 90 minutes, 18 times, 18 weeks. So you get this information and it'll bless you. Uh, there'll be a little disclaimer for some people, and that will be, of course, you cannot use it professionally unless you are already a professional numerologist. But if you want to use it professional, just again send me an email, and I give you the electronic signature that it's okay to use my terminology and things of that nature. Again, thank you for joining me. This course will be based on my new book, The Key to Life is Numerology. Sold on Amazon right now. It's on Amazon for $25. There's no ebook. The reason for that is hard to upload these things into ebook format, especially on Amazon. Go through a lot of changes to get the thing into ebook format. So if you like tonight's show, click on the thumbs up. If you didn't like the show, give me a thumbs down. We're all about getting truth and criticism out here and making sure people are either happy or not happy, but get this information. And it helps me, if you're not sure, not comfortable with some of the information that I give. The time is I've been on 2 hours and 44 minutes. I'd like to thank you. Again, I'll be on Lloyd's show. I'll be on Live with Lloyd on Wednesday, December the 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm definitely going to talk about the key to life is numerology and my upcoming course. Definitely going to talk about that, which will be, again, it'll kick off. Our target date is Wednesday, February the 1st, 2023 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my private Zoom channel platform. So it'll be a live streaming video 18 times in a row. So you can get get the information that you need for the key to life is numerology and how to use numbers in your life. Time is now 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. As one more minute, it'll be 12 a.m. So it'll be 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 a.m. Central Standard Time, and 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for being here with me this evening. It is time for me to sign out. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. And I hope to do this really soon, maybe like tomorrow, which will take us into Wednesday or Tuesday. So I'd like to come back on and get some more information out to all of you. Thank you for your time. Tell your friends what they missed. Tell them I am going to come on either tomorrow, which is Tuesday, or Wednesday with some more information on the key to life is numerology through my Circle Grace One channel here on YouTube. May you have a pleasant night. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance, as my grace is your grace.